Hey, Team 2.1, happy Wednesday. So today I'm going to be talking tips for new coaches. And I tried to keep it to three, but I really want to talk about five. And these tips, of course, are for new coaches, but it's important, I think, for all of us because these are definitely things that I still work on every day. And I've been a coach for over a year and a half. So I think they're important no matter what. My number one fear, and I talked a little bit about this, or my number one tip, and I talked about this a little bit yesterday, was not letting fear hold you back. And I think that that's probably one of the most common reasons that coaches never really get started or are hesitant to start is because they're afraid of rejection, afraid of failure, and I think on some level, even afraid of success, because what comes with success? Can I handle that? So I think it's just really important to accept that we can be afraid, but it's how we overcome that fear. And I think one of the best things I've heard recently was on a wake up call that Lindsay Matley did. And I'm going to share the link to that so you can listen or re listen to it because it was pretty powerful what she said. And it was about how she was prepping for her wake up call. And she was afraid of it. She was nervous and stressed, and she spent hours on personal development. She went back on books she'd already read, was reading new books. I mean, you name it. And it was, kind of crazy to think that she's been a top coach. She's been super successful, but she was still afraid. She was still stressed about that call. And she talked about how successful people are still afraid of things. They are just more afraid of what would happen if they don't push, if they don't dream, if they don't try. And I think that is just such an important message. It's okay to be afraid, but push through that fear. That's where the magic happens. So that's my tip number one. Tip number two is to stay consistent. We heard something at Summit that I thought was awesome. They talked about how you don't do one squat, you don't do one plank, you don't eat one healthy meal and expect to be in shape or healthy. You do those things, you work out day after day after day, and you eat healthy day after day after day, week after week after week, month after month after month. And those are the things that get you there. They get you in shape, they keep you healthy. It's the consistent behaviors that, sometimes are seemingly insignificant, but they do matter. They compound over time. If you haven't read The Compound Effect, you got to read that book. I have a blog post on it, and it talks about doing the unsexy things day after day. And it really does. That's what this is all about, is doing consistent things day after day after day. And it will lead to huge things. It really will. But it's being in that mindset that those small things really do make a difference. And just like we do on a personal level with those things, working out and eating right, we need to throw into our business. So we do need to be inviting every day. We do need to be forming every day. We do need to be adding friends to our list every day. It's the only way that your business will grow. And I'll have a little bit more for you tomorrow when we talk about Success Club, but I have an example tomorrow of what happened when I stopped doing some of those things and what it did to my business and how long it's taken to recover. So take it from me personally, it's worth it. I think you can do a power of threes in 20 minutes a day. I've done it. I now do more because my goals are higher, so it takes me longer. But 20 minutes, I think if you're saying that you don't have time for that, I think you need to dig deeper and find out if it's really that you don't have time or if it's fear holding you back. Because I know when I said I didn't have time, when I dug deep, it was about my fear. And, whether it's fear of failure, fear of rejection, the fear of success, it's all powerful, and it will all hold you back if you let it. So definitely just get out there, share your story every day, be doing the vital behaviors every day. I'm going to share a blog post about that too, but we don't go out and share a tidbit of our story one day and then not share anything else for weeks. You have to do those things every day, even if it is just one post once a day to get started. Just start somewhere. So that's my tip number 2. Tip number 3, we listened to a little bit about this about leading instead of managing. And I think it was awesome to hear, because I think I've been doing a little bit of management instead of leading. So one thing I think that I've maybe even got caught up in is relying too much on my upline. And I think it's important to make this business your own. It is your own. And your upline will always be there for help. And when it comes to things like placement and support, definitely go to them. But I challenge you to be resourceful on the rest of it. If you're wondering what's in Shakeology, go find out. Go to the online office and research about it. Knowledge is power, and you can't necessarily teach somebody that. They have to find it on their own. When I started, I went to YouTube, I Googled, I watched a lot of recorded webinars from top coaches. I plugged myself into everything I could, every training, every push group. I plugged myself in, and I really have to stress that too. Do what you need to do to get engaged. Our team is amazing. They offer the great training and great push groups. So I think it's yours to take advantage of. So that was my tip number 3. Tip number 4 is another one that we learned at Summit. And it's pretty simple. It's just to take 5 minutes a day and go learn something new about Shakeology. So let's just say you don't know what an adaptogen is. Well, go find out. There again, I think knowledge is power. And learning more about Shakeology, it's our number 1 sticky factor. And of course, we all love it. And even me personally, I made the mistake of, I knew I loved it. I knew it made me feel good, but I didn't know why. I wasn't taking the time to really research why. Like, why were my cravings better? Why do I feel better? Why do I sleep better? Why is my hair and skin better? So knowledge is power, and it will help you overcome those price objections or questions on, am I going to have to drink this for the rest of my life? So take 5 minutes a day and learn something new about Shakeology every day. Okay, tip number 4. So this is tip number 5, personal development. I probably sound like a broken record with this to my team, but it is so important. And I think I've heard other coaches say this too, but I believe it should be our number 1 vital behavior, because I don't think without the proper mindset, any of the rest of it works. Whether it's your own personal goals, if you don't have the right mindset, it won't work. And same goes for building a team and running challenge groups and attracting people. You have to have the right mindset. You have to have, the best outlook on life that you can, and stay positive, be positive. Times are going to get tough. It's going to get challenging, and you have to know how to push through. And that's what will do it. So I'm also going to list up what I feel for me have helped me the most. And there was a great list. I think Lindsay Matway posted that on like different areas. Like if you're struggling with your eating, read this. And if you're struggling with your mindset, read this. And it was a great list. So I'm going to try to find that too and post it. I'm sure some of you have already seen it. But anyway, so I had 5 tips instead of 3. Happy Wednesday. Talk to you tomorrow.